celebrate. They have done it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with my rant stroke thought of the day on a sunny day in the northeast. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you are. Maybe you're on the beach like Dan Burn, playing with his dog and swimming in the water. What a legend that man is, by the way. Absolutely class. No idea what beach it was. Must have been Blythe Beach, surely, because he is from Blythe. You'll never beat Dan Burn. But this is not about Dan Burn. No, this is about Sandro Tonali. So looking at some of the stories doing the rounds, there's loads of clubs that are linked to Sandro Tonali right now. And why not? He's arguably the best number 6 in world football right now, never mind European football. He's absolutely class. He can defend, he can attack, he's got pace, he's got guile, he's got quality, and he's cool as fucking ice as well. But loads of people are interested in Sandro. Manchester City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Juventus, you name it. They're all sniffing around Tonali now. He's back doing what he does best after that lengthy ban. And this is what I'm talking about. So the story has come from Luke Edwards in the Telegraph. Not always my favourite journalist, but this was a piece I did enjoy, I must admit, especially with the content. So apparently Sandro Tonali is going to stay at Newcastle United to repay the faith shown in him by Eddie Howe and the supporters. And that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. It really doesn't. You know, I think Sandro is a world-class player. There's no doubt about that. I think he belongs on the biggest stage of all. But it's looking like Newcastle United could secure Champions League football towards the end of this season. And we've got a cup in the trophy cabinet already, hopefully the first of many. So why couldn't Sandro Tonali realise those goals at Newcastle United? Exactly the same as Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon, Sven Botman, Bruno Guimaraes, all those other brilliant players that we have. Why can't they achieve these great goals? Everyone seems to try to sell them to what they would say is the elite clubs, and historically those clubs have been elite and they've won loads of trophies. But Newcastle United are coming, there's no doubt about it, even with the financial fair play and PSR roadblocks. More on that in a second. Newcastle United are still coming, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sandro Tonali does stay in Newcastle United, because I think he does owe the fans and Eddie Howe a little bit of loyalty, but I think he's a loyal player and a loyal guy. I think he realises how that could have went. A 10-month ban, a club's just shelled out 50-odd million quid for you, brought you into their club, you know, over to their country as their kind of star signing, and all this came out in the wash. And it was horrible for Sandro, horrible for the club. But the club have been excellent handling it, supporting Sandro. Him and Eddie Howe, they've got a great relationship. Sandro has a great relationship with the rest of the squad by the looks of it. So there's no reason why he would want to move on and play for anybody else, you know, regardless of the pull of the names of the clubs that are involved and linked. And it backs up what Luke Edwards says in the piece as well, that Newcastle United are apparently PSR free now after the sales of Lloyd Kelly and Miguel Almiron, on top of the sales of Yankuba Minteh and Elliot Anderson that still hurt to this day when we talk about it. But Newcastle haven't really signed a first team player in 3 windows, something we talk about all the time. And with the sales of Almiron and Kelly, that has made us PSR free now. So it looks like Newcastle can do what everybody wants them to do, and that's go big in the summer. There's loads of positions that look like they're up for grabs in terms of bringing in a player. There's goalkeeper, there's right-sided centre-half, there's right wing. There's even apparently competition for Alexander Isak up front, and possibly somebody who can play alongside him, or you could rotate him and you know, and play another centre-forward there. There's been links to Liam Delap, despite the fact that he clearly plays for Manchester United already. If you listen to some of their stupid YouTube channels that are talking about that player, he doesn't even play for you. He plays for fucking Ipswich. You haven't even signed the guy. You know, everyone thinks they're living in 1999 still. Fergie's on the sideline and they're winning the treble. No, you're not. You're a mid-table side, and hopefully you get dumped out of the Europa on Thursday and you'll have no Champions League football to entice any of these targets that you're talking about, and you end up signing none of them. And I will laugh, a very hard belly laugh, in the summer when that happens. But this isn't about that United. This is about our United, the team we call United, and Newcastle United. And I do think the window's going to be strong for Newcastle in the summer. I think it has to be. You know, what Eddie Howe has done with that squad of players is miraculous, really. You know, he's got way more out of that squad than anybody probably could have thought he did. But a lot of the players are starting to cap out now in terms of their peak performances. We've seen Longstaff tail off. We've seen Willock not really recapture the form that he had 2 or 3 years ago. Joe Linton's still brilliant, but there's injury issues there. Gordon's been injured in and out the season. Botman's been injured in and out the season. So the squad depth and the lightness of the squad is being on display again. You know, and especially up front with the way Alexander Isak has had to been used. We said this in the last video about maybe him not pushing himself themselves too hard. We need competition for places in that position. If they're really clever, as I said before, someone like Mbeumo's perfect for us right wing and can play up front as well if we need that. If Isak's carrying a knock or a niggle, he probably is right now. But this is great news that Newcastle look like they're in a strong position to strengthen in the summer, because a lot of these other clubs won't be. A lot of these other clubs are dancing really, really close to the line. You know, obviously, like Chelsea seem to be able to sell the bus to themselves for 400 million and get away from PSR punishment complications. Something I'm still amazed hasn't been microscopically investigated by the financial side of the football bodies. That's probably why you need an independent regulator that people like Gary Neville keep shouting for, because how Chelsea get away with that is beyond me. Manchester United, again, they get away with a lot of shit, but I think it's going to come back and bite them on the arse this summer. I really do. I don't think they're going to be able to buy as many players as they think they're going to be able to buy, regardless of the revenue that they make as a worldwide franchise. You know, they haven't had the Champions League money this season just gone by there. They probably won't get the Champions League money next season if they go out against Athletic Bilbao, who are a good team. I think they should do Man United. I really do. I know Man U are jammy as anything, but I think that's going to be one step too far for them, and they won't have Champions League to entice players or the revenue from Champions League for 2 seasons in a row there. So they're going to be dancing close to the edge of FFP and PSR. Maybe they have to have a few windows where they don't sign players. And now that'll be disastrous for them, because they were lucky they didn't go down this season, because it was 3 worse teams than them and Spurs. But for Newcastle, we're sitting in the top 3, not the bottom 3, anywhere near the bottom 3. You know, we've got a really good squad that Eddie Howe's managed to coach into better performances. We need to add quality, there's no doubt about that. And I think we will do this summer. And people like Edwards writing about being PSR free is music to all of our ears. And hopefully Newcastle will have a strong window. But going back to the start of the video, Sandro Tonali is going nowhere. He is a mainstay of this Newcastle United side. That midfield alongside Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton is arguably the best in the Premier League when they're all fit and firing. And I think that they've got years ahead with each other in that midfield, dominating games. And Sandro's only going to get better and better and repay the faith in Eddie Howe and the fans for supporting him as well. But that's what I think about that, guys. Like and subscribe. Keep it evermore. We'll be back with loads more Newcastle content soon, covering the last few games. Champions League is in our hands. We need to get it, because it's going to be a brilliant summer and a brilliant next season if we do. Have a belter. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you later. Cheers.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.